Welcome to the
Hello.
Backlog Podcast number 68. I am Matt.
Quintessence.
August couldn't be here today. Unfortunately, he passed away of heart disease.
Jesus, that was grim. Didn't actually.
Rest in peace, dude.
Jesus.
I miss him. I miss him every day.
Oh, I'm sure. I thought he died in the earthquake. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh. Damn, that was a good one. Yeah, what happened? I think been seeing that everywhere. Like, didn't that earthquake like hit a large amount of places? Like, I saw like it was in New York and
I don't know. The thing was chonking though. Like, it just hit fucking everywhere. I barely see anything about it though. Like, people are just kind of like trying to move on, which I get.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So today
There's a video. Did you see the video of it? Like,
what
the buildings, like the buildings falling.
Oh, what? Buildings falling?
Yeah.
What, in New York?
No. There was another massive earthquake in where was it? Taiwan or something like that?
Taiwan?
I think it was Taiwan. But anyways, they were showing like big buildings and they were just falling with the earthquake. Some guy was filming it.
That's horrible.
With, shaky hand basically, because earthquake.
Yeah. No, he added it he added an After Effects.
As you do.
Oh, there's an earthquake. I don't know.
Oh God, it's an earthquake. No, it sucks.
Yeah, that's terrible. But
Earthquakes, terrifying.
Yeah, I think I've actually been in one earthquake.
I've been in a couple.
Really?
Not fan.
It always sucks. Real hard to stand.
Man.
Real hard to stand.
You're not supposed to.
Hey man, I didn't know. First of all, where I live, there's never earthquakes. Ever.
That tracks.
Ever. So I didn't know what was happening when it was happening. But literally everything started falling over and shit. I think like
If you go south from me, you just get earthquakes and freaking flash fires and forest fires and stuff.
Oh.
California.
About that.
It's just how it be.
Yeah. I think we had one, and I think like a freaking, I don't know, something like fell on me. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a bureau or something like that. Like a little kitchen set kind of fell over.
Ouch.
Good times.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. And then like, the house was all ruined. But yeah.
Yeah, right?
What
house is tilted a little bit now.
Do you ever have anything fall on you?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean like in the earthquake.
I have stuff, up high, right? So if like an earthquake hits, just like all right. One time I was like messing with some shit over there. Although this was back in Arizona and we had like a little earthquake. And I had like the same kind of setup. And I was messing with some shit. And it started and just a bunch of stuff fell on me. Like, okay, alright, this timing is spectacular. I totally don't hate this. Life's not pain.
Oh man, you know what it is?
It was just a little quake too. It's just I have a bunch of stuff very like curiously, set up there, just barely on there.
Yeah, barely holding it together.
Exactly, just like me.
Today's been one of those days too. Oh,
Jesus.
You gotta open it first, buddy. You could just
I closed it. I usually just leave it open, but the cats were like trying to lick at it, and I'm like, well, that's fucking gross.
Yeah.
So
I think today we were going to review Dragon Ball FighterZ, and I think this was something we wanted to review.
Long time coming.
We wanted to review this like a while ago, but unfortunately that didn't come together because we wanted to wait for the full rollback release.
And what a release it is.
Yeah, it's really awkward. I don't. Why is it so buggy, man? Like, it seems incredibly weird. It felt better during the
Oh no.
beta. It felt better during the beta than it did, like, playing in person, or this most recent time.
It's just, I don't know, everything feels a little bit like off. As well as spectator just like doesn't work anymore. Your screen just gets filled with after images of
Yeah,
things.
Goten T-posing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Especially some especially egregious ones are SSJ4 Gogeta,
Mhm.
when he does his little fly across the screen, hit you wherever the hell you are thing.
Mhm.
That grabs like 10 of them and just like
Throws them on the
plasters them
screen.
on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, man, ring
It'll be
pops.
fixed. Probably.
They need to nerf
Maybe.
some of those damn characters.
Nah, it's whatever. If I can just need to know to react. Because Gogeta always comes in from the other side. It's always a cross-up with that super. Every time. So,
Mhm. Yeah, or you could get
launch punishable.
It's launch punishable.
Yes.
Is it? You just have to block it, and essentially you can launch it
Yeah.
from there. Okay,
Yep.
nice.
Block launch.
So did you actually just go into the lab and work that out?
Must be better. No, I realized it while I was fighting him.
Okay. The problem with that game, man, is it's so fast now that it is like incredibly hard to react to a lot of stuff, or at least it feels that way. Especially like coming from Tekken.
As an old man, you know, these anime games, they be hitting different in the speed categories.
They really do. The freaking
You just have to know the strings, right? It's not like predicting them. Other than overheads, you know, you can react to the overheads. That's fine, whatever. But the lows in that game, if you're not crouch blocking everything, you're just getting sent to space. Full combo. No hope.
Yeah, there was a lot of just sort of getting knowledge checked by characters. I know Gohan has an insanely fast low that he can confirm into. Like he can confirm into his low.
That's just light.
Yeah,
He does a jab and then he stomps on your toe and he's like, "Fuck you."
You
Getting
can
launched.
he can confirm into a like a level 3 super, right?
Yeah.
Which
yeah,
was
you can.
wild.
I think I did that to you.
You did. You did. It was not fun. It was a bad time.
I had fun. Till I fought Ring Pop. Then my fun was eviscerated.
Well, that was his goal.
Destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mission succeeded.
Yeah. He did it.
He sucked the fun out of a gameplay session.
He's the strongest with Ultra Instinct Goku, SJ4 Gogeta,
Yep.
and Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. Yep, he's the strongest.
Yep. I mean,
Oh, Team Fusion plus Goku.
yeah. It was a very tough matchup to work against.
Yeah.
Most everything, all of his moves are really fast. Like,
Yep. His super's track. You whiff from full screen and Vegito's just like appears above you with his fist in your face. You're like, damn it! As you just get plowed into the ground.
it really feels like footsies aren't
Yeah.
a thing in this game. I mean, I know
I
that's.
feel like they're just hard, right? Like, I feel like we're just not experienced enough with like the proper flow of the game to like actually do the footsies. Because like in real level play, people don't just freaking super dash everywhere, right? Like that doesn't happen. They're actually like, you know, air dashing and spacing and using key blasts and assists and stuff like that, and we're just, you know, hammering all the buttons and hoping for the best.
Yeah. I mean,
So I feel like it's just like kind of a skill issue, you know, on our side for that regard.
favorite word.
I know. It's a good word.
Yeah, I think, I mean, with maybe that definitely could be a definite skill issue thing, because
Yeah.
in that game, footsies it might as well be dragon homing or whatever that move is called.
It's called Super Dash.
Super dash. Yeah, so it could be
Wow.
super
I don't know what the
dash.
hell it's actually called. Probably called Dragon Homing.
I think it's called like the homing dash or whatever it is. Where
Dragon Don't Miss Dash.
yes, yeah, or you get punished big time.
Like when I did it against you and you were like below me, my character's like,
Yes, I remember.
I was just flying across, and he's just, you thought you were gonna dodge? Nah.
So it could very well be. I know some characters have like decent pokes in general, and like Piccolo can obviously poke you from like halfway across the screen, and kind of grapple you to bring you closer. But other than that, it really feels like it's sort of just you can just do the same thing you do in Street Fighter, which is just sit back, wait until they do like a dragon homing, launch it, sort of just have them play hangman.
Yeah, true. Or you could just play some proper, footsies, because at the end of the day, it seems like they kind of set up like almost like a rock paper scissors kind of thing, because you can't just stand back and stand band blasts because the dragon homing beats that. However, if people are over spamming the dragon rush, then you can just launch them. Just launch them. So.
And I don't know, man. It feels like the top tier, the difference between the top tier and the low tier are just so huge, like in terms of the tools that they get.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think that's again like a lack of like our real like experience with the game. Because it definitely feels like a lot of characters have a lot of tools, and like the discrepancy isn't as high as we think it is. We just don't know how to utilize the tools of the lower tier characters because they're most likely just more difficult to use, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like they have these decent tools, but it's more work, so why bother?
Yeah,
kind of mentality.
Yeah, you could just play Ultra Instinct, and then you can just skip footsies altogether.
Yeah, just skip the neutral.
Skip neutral.
Yeah. You beat the rock paper scissors by using dynamite.
Yeah, for sure. What did you think of the game?
I think it's fun. It's probably like the most fun tag game right now. Like in my opinion, it's probably like one of the most fun tag games right now. Although I do remember having a bit more fun with Marvel 3 before the coming of the Zero meta, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's a fun game. Like you seem to have a lot more freedom now than when I first played it, which was forever ago. Like there wasn't even multiple assist options when I played it,
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was just one thing. You had one option, and half your team, hinged on choosing the right option. So you didn't have a lot of actual team building options, right? So you had these little pieces, these specific pieces work together, and that was your team. You didn't have a lot of freedom. But I feel like now, with the vastly expanded options, you can piece together pretty much anything. Like it seems like most characters you can just kind of boom, throw them together and something will work if you have an idea what you're doing.
Yeah. It definitely has I think the team building aspect is my favorite part of the game, because it just changes the flavor and experience of it so much. I know I liked kind of mixing in, like, having my anchor be 16, and then, rotating in, like, Piccolo and TN, and kind of figuring out which one I want to play. And then also
Yeah.
it's fun to figure out like what archetype you want to throw in there. Because some archetypes are similar to others, like Piccolo and Yamcha kind of do the same thing. They're basically just kind of Rekka mix-up characters. And
Mhm.
so kind of playing with them, and then even Gohan, and it was just really fun to kind of like
Yeah.
get those characters in there.
Well, I liked how something as simple as changing a character from point to like mid or anchor immediately changes like your options with that character. You're like, okay, if I move my like say I'm using Mr. Gohan as my point character,
Mhm.
right? I don't really have access to a majority of his stuff because I want to save bar and like build up my offense and play like some classic footsies. Meanwhile, if I throw him on my anchor, I can just like save bar and then go freaking ham as Mr. Gohan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you have like Goku Blue as your point. You play just like normal, like controlled footsies. You have him as your like mid, for example. Then you can like do some of the more wacky stuff, like using his level 1 super for like loops and things like that. So like you just like have a lot of variety, and it feels good.
Yeah. I feel like this is the only kind of tag fighter I would love to delve into and like really learn how to play it. And I feel like I didn't originally respect the game as much for whatever reason. I found it overwhelming in general. And coming back to it though, you kind of realize that it's simplistic enough that it's very easy to understand for a tag fighter. And also, I mean,
Yeah.
which is sort of like, I think that's always been an angle to tag fighters, is the gameplay has to be simplistic. Um, quarter circles were always easier than Street Fighter 2 or whatever it may be. You don't have to do double motions; you can just do one for a super.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think coming back to it, it is a great game, an amazing game that unfortunately was in the in-between era for fighting game, which is in that spot where we didn't have rollback, and
Yep.
it's going to be like another 2 years before you see the game with the way it is now. And basically, there's the competitive scene is
A
dying
lot longer
down.
than
It's
that.
dying down, yeah.
Yeah. But it seems like the game did see like a spike in player base with like the rollback. So that's good for it, right?
Right.
People can still enjoy it. It's not like a Discord fighter yet. It
Not
still
yet.
has like a decent enough player base that you can just hop on, find a match.
I actually, I don't know why, but I keep thinking that if I go online, there's going to be nobody on there. I think that's just because I'm used to playing fighting games no one plays. So,
That's fair.
um,
Plus, it's Dragon Ball Z, so it's practically like immortal. There's always going to be like that die-hard group that's just like, man, I've been waiting so long for a real Dragon Ball Z fighting game that's not a damn arena fighter. Like, that kind of thing.
and now you
When they
get,
don't realize, Super Dragon Ball Z exists, so.
yeah, Super Dragon Ball Z, fantastic game as well.
Fun. It's fun.
I actually think, I don't know if
A little
you,
janky, but.
it's a little jank, yeah, but I think it's enjoyable jank. Um,
Systems are odd. But this is the fighters review, so.
right, yeah. We've actually already done a Super Dragon Ball Z episode. Um, I mean, the game, and not to put it lightly, but I think this is probably the last time we had friends playing. I think it's an incredible casual game that you can play with your friends, and like more so than any fighting game I can think of, because we had a moment during the beta where we had a bunch of people in a room together. We were all playing, and it was so much fun. Like everybody was having a good time, even if we lost for the most part, sometimes people would kind of be able to turn the tide. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of back and forth in this game. Like, someone might be a little bit better than you, but like a game or two in, I always found that I could actually win games off, take games off people. There didn't feel like there was that big of a gap, you know? So I don't know. I think it was actually one of the most fun experiences I've had with a fighting game in like forever, that I can think of. So I think that's a big, pat on the back for that game that I regret not giving time and energy to.
Well, the thing is we're playing like basically the finished product. Cause I remember when I played it in like the beginning, right? And I had probably the most degenerate team just by happenstance. I was like, oh, Gotenks is cool. Oh, Kid Buu is cool. Like, oh, Mr. Gohan's cool. Right?
Yeah.
And so like I just had a super, super degenerate team and I didn't even know it. And you could put people in block strings for like ever, pretty much, in like the beginning. But like I've noticed they ironed that out completely in like the current age of the game. Like your assists don't regen as you're comboing anymore, and you can't just keep putting people in like block pressure loops or anything like that. So like it seems that by like rooting that out and just like ripping it out, the game is in like a more super healthy spot. Like you don't always feel like, oh, well, I did my attack, they blocked it, and now I'm gonna block for the next 15-20 seconds and hope for the best. You don't really have that anymore, at least at our level. I don't know how like the super high level is doing, but it seems like that kind of stuff has been mostly weeded out, which I think is a strong component of why it's actually so fun right now.
Yeah.
Is because you don't have to deal with the honestly bullshit that was in the beginning with the game.
Yeah, and I don't fully understand why it took ArcSys so long to kind of craft this game. It feels a little bit strange because Strive came, and that was like, a pretty done package from, when it landed. But it seems like Dragon Ball FighterZ has had a really weird and difficult development, throughout the years. Especially now, even like just showing more of its, underbelly with the rollback issue.
Yeah. Damn rollback issue. At least it's playable. Like it feels 10 times better than the delay based. So, but one weird thing is you can choose to play the delay based.
Yeah, I don't know why they even give you an option.
So like, I guess they split the player base. Like some people, I guess, will just enjoy the delay based and call it a day, and other people have moved on to the promised land.
Yeah. I know that in like 6-player versus, they force you to use delay based, which is pretty unfortunate. But I
guess they just couldn't get rollback with 6 people going.
I don't understand why. I mean, maybe that would just be too much work, but also I thought by the time we actually got, when the rollback came out, because it's been like a few months now since rollback dropped.
I don't think so.
No?
I think it fully dropped like fairly recently. We had the beta. That's probably what you're thinking of, is the beta.
Rollback. Because I think they like stealth dropped, it was like February 28th. Yeah, so it wasn't too long ago. But it's over a month. So they didn't really like give us a solid date for when the rollback was coming out. And I think that is because they knew that it was still bunk.
Yeah. Because when did we play? We played... Oh, back in November. November, December, early December, yeah. and that was when they were doing like the rollback tests initially.
Oh,
And then
okay.
it took them until, February to finally
Add the T-posing.
drop it. Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's a pretty good turnaround. I don't know how like hard this stuff is or anything like that. Retrofitting it into a game like this.
I can only tell you what I've
Apparently,
heard. Yeah.
It was there. Money was there. Like the passion was there, and now we have it.
Yeah.
And hopefully they keep patching it, but you know.
Well, I mean,
It's also a game that's been going for 5 years?
Like 2016, 2017 it dropped.
God, has it been that long?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, no. I lost track of years.
But I think I've heard that it's in pre-made games, it is incredibly difficult to actually implement rollback. Like we've seen it with Tekken and how that's been, kind of difficult for them to really kind of get down.
Okay, 2018.
Okay.
Came out in 2018. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not crazy. Good. I didn't lose that many years.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's been like about 5.5-ish years since it came out.
I mean,
not crazy.
Yeah. I mean, hey, we got rollback, or we got to Switch 2. Look at that.
Switch 2's coming. Coming. Don't worry about it. Probably. Maybe.
Boy, if they don't add like backwards compatibility with the Switch, Nintendo is insane.
I mean, Nintendo's always been insane. There's nothing new there.
But yeah, no,
it's like how they think it's okay that some of the games on the Switch play the way they do.
And look the way they do,
like
too.
Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
When you, like, use your powers, like the items and stuff like that, it is so laggy. It's so laggy.
Yeah. They've been...
I ended up just emulating it. Like, it wasn't happening. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Which was unplayable to me.
Also, on a side note, rest in peace, Yuzu. And Citra.
Rest in piss, Yuzu.
Oh my god, those filthy, I thought I can't believe
for life, baby.
I can't believe they actually won that lawsuit. They're like, oh yeah, well, we could say that because of this software, they've costed us all this money. It's like,
well, so like there's a much deeper problem with that because the way like Yuzu did their emulation. So
wait, was Yuzu the company that like
it's not really the scope of this podcast?
Oh, right. But just to kind of ask, was Yuzu the company that was like selling games with the emulator or something like that?
So they didn't sell games with the emulator. However, they did have a Patreon where you could get early access to better builds that played games better. And where they really screwed up was they did that for Tears of the Kingdom. And so they'd been working on Tears of the Kingdom for a while, and Nintendo obviously took notes, like, you're making, like, what was it? I think they were making, like, 20,000 a month or something like that at, like, peak Tears of the Kingdom hours. So, like, some pretty Duco bucks there, yeah. Because people were just like, I wanna play Tears of the Kingdom, on the emulators. Yeah. We got like this early release thing. Somebody leaked the game and like, oh sweet. And and Nintendo always knows. Nintendo's always watching. Praise Nintendo.
Praise the Nintendo overlords. Bring Tekken 8.
So.
Let's Switch 2.
Oh yikes, dude.
We can play against. We can play.
It's gonna be interesting to see what the Switch 2 ends up actually being. Mm-hmm. Like, I hope it can hang with like the PS5 and such, or else.
I think you're dreaming.
What was even the point?
I think
I am a dreamer, all right? I want my damn Nintendo games on real freaking hardware.
buddy, you know, all you're gonna get is a new console with a better CPU. That's honestly, I swear to God, that's what they're gonna do.
No, no,
Yeah.
that'd be stupid as hell.
Well, I mean,
But you can also play fighters on Switch. I'm
you
pretty
can,
sure.
and
So,
it
you know,
runs great. Probably
sure it
30,
does.
probably 30 FPS though.
No, well, there's no way. It's got to be 60.
FighterZ is actually a relatively easy game to run, so
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it.
Switch runs a lot of its games at 60. So like, I don't see why it wouldn't.
I mean, man, if they just had better specs though, they wouldn't have to force those damn developers to be like, oh, we got to adjust it. We have to. It's not performing well, and then they have to find a happy medium to. Anyway.
And then you have lazy devs like Game Freak, so you know. But you know, that's all.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do
Fighters.
think it's a fantastic fighting game, and I regret not getting into it. And this kind of brings me to my next point. They need to make a FighterZ 2. Like,
Yeah.
It should have been over Sparking Zero.
Bombastically successful the first one has been, I don't see how we're not getting a 2. I'd be willing to bet like in the works right now is like a 2, and we might even see something in like Evo Japan or some reveal like that. Who knows?
Yeah. I highly doubt it, because at this point, you have to understand that Sparking Zero is seen as a fighting game. So
Is it?
yes. So they would be competing. Namco would be competing with themselves by putting out another fighting game.
That's fair.
They're like, which Dragon Ball game you want?
I guess if you consider it a fighting game, whatever.
Well, I tell you what, don't buy Sparking Zero, and then hopefully a lot of people don't buy it, and then we'll probably get a FighterZ 2 in like 2 years.
I still want to support Sparking franchise.
You do?
I do.
You don't strike me as a Sparking Zero guy.
I have fond memories of, you know, playing like Tenkaichi 3 and 2 and 1 and all that. I remember getting Tenkaichi 1 and being like, I can't transform? This game is freaking garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you know, 2 came out, and it's like, transformations in battle? Hell yeah, this is everything I've ever wanted. There's like, you know, 120 characters? Hell yeah, we're in there.
Indeed. You know, after
3 came out and blew my mind even more. Even more characters.
Man, like learning those games was kind of a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie.
Some degenerate stuff you can do in those games. Punch, stun.
In one, you can literally do punch, stun, and you can just infinite loop someone. And there's not much they can do.
Too, but Jesus.
Yes. Yeah, you can't do it as much. You can't do the cheese. Like I literally, I want to say, you know, in the Hercule Kid Buu fight, you know how like you have to use Hercule to beat Kid Buu? Yeah. I used Hercule. He has his projectiles. He throws a rock, and I threw a rock, and I realized that the CPU didn't know how to handle it. So then I literally just
key blast.
I beat him by throwing rocks at Kid Buu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
And people are like, "Oh man, this mission's so hard. This game's so difficult." And then I'm like, I just used exploits and like ran my way through it. And I was like, this game's kind of sucks. It's easy. And then people got mad.
If they want difficult, they gotta hit up like Budokai 3, where you're fighting inside Buu, and your health bar is just going, and you have to beat Buu.
Yeah.
That fight was not cool.
Man, if you want a real freaking challenge, you should go play Infinite World. That game is insanely difficult. Did you do
that one? That one also had a boo fight in his stomach where you would lose health.
Infinite World has some of the craziest difficulty spikes in a video game I've ever played.
Yeah. They also read your inputs.
They read your inputs. Also, I don't know if you remember this conversation, but in Budokai 3, they actually store your inputs. So, like, you know how you have the Dragon Rush where, like, you knock people out and you have to press a button, and if they press the right button, then they can defend? They actually take that and then they store it so that the computer knows that you've already used that. And so the thing about it is, like, it will continually store those and will not clear the cache. So essentially, it will start to crash your game if you play the game enough. Sorry. Anyway, so literally just making like.
Yes, I did the same thing. Present bomb. Hell yeah.
Present bomb? Oh.
Yeah, Hercule's present bomb.
Oh, present for you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bomb.
Yeah, it's always called present for you, but yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, fighters, man. So
fighters, like we've come so far, you know, like
we have
scraping by with Budokai 3, the degeneracy of Tenkaichi 1, the okayness of 2, the greatness of 3, and then a real fighting game that released proper to an actual audience with fighters.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. Like, it did take a really long time to get a solid fighting game. Like, the only one I can think of that was sort of like an FGC fighting game was that Hyper Dragon Ball Z game. For like someone made it in Mugen.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah.
It's actually an amazing game.
You know, that's like a third-party nonsense, right? You know, we didn't have anything like official to like really just sink our teeth into. Thankfully, ArcSys delivered.
Yeah, but actually,
and in a big way, it feels just like you're playing the show. Like, the characters look so good. The game is still gorgeous.
That is true.
Right?
I would agree with that.
Like, it's of course it's not as pretty as Sparking Zero, which is just, they brought things up to, you know, another tier because, you know, you're in a whole nother set of hardware that you can utilize now. But it's still an extremely pretty game that holds up. Absolutely.
I actually always have thought that FighterZ looks great. It was like it's a really pretty game considering how long it came out too. Like, it in 2018, and we've come a long way, but just they kind of really nailed that aspect of the
aesthetic game. It's just perfect. Like, ripped straight out of the show. You're just like, hell yeah, I'm playing as Goku. And I'm playing as Goku.
And another Goku.
And another one. I'm always Goku. It's Goku all the way down.
Indeed.
How many Gokus are in that game?
Bro, I don't know. I think he makes up like 1/3 of the cast though, or something crazy like that.
He's gotta, right? Because, you know, base Goku, freaking Super Saiyan Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Ultra Instinct Goku.
Yeah.
Hell, we can count Gogeta. Gogeta has a couple forms. Like,
yeah, it's quite a bit.
Vegito. Goku and Vegeta just out here making up the cast.
Yeah, big time. But I actually kind of wanted to touch upon the story a little bit because I think the story mode is really cool.
Hated it.
You didn't like it?
I hated it.
Why?
It's just so bland, and all you're doing is fighting the same enemies on repeat, but they just get a little bit harder. And it's just so boring.
Well, you don't play it for the fights. Yep.
Do you play it for the waifu?
No, you play for the dialogue
You-
between the characters.
Oh, it's
If
kind of mid-ass.
if you're not, I mean,
Dialogue.
it could play like fan fiction. It could.
It does play like fan fiction.
I mean, I still think it's really cool.
It's nice that they tried, right? Okay, it's nice that we got a single player story with like an original character that Toriyama designed just for fighters, which is cool.
Yeah.
And she's a baddie, so you know, like it helps.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm still not gonna go and play
Majin
through it.
waifu.
Yeah. I don't know if it's
On to Meta Destroyer lab coat.
but so I think the game is like best when you just have a bunch of friends that are around your level, and it's really fun to kind of rotate in. I don't think, I really enjoy this. I don't think I could ever make it like a sweaty game that I'm like, I'm gonna get good at this. I think about it though. I just think like that is a tall mountain to climb.
It definitely seems like it'd be a tall mountain to climb. I think I would just get like I feel like to climb that mountain you would have to just keep using the same team and refine that to like a razor's edge and go nowhere from there.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, I just don't really want to do that. I enjoy hopping around characters too much.
Well, I mean,
Commit like that.
Does do you think that, because I want to ask your opinion, because as someone who hops around characters, I don't hop around any characters, and what do you think is the best way to learn and experience a fighting game when you're first getting into it? Do you think it's better to go the route of one character, learning them, or do you think it's better to hop around? Because I've heard both arguments.
I feel like it almost depends on the game.
Mm-hmm.
For like Tekken, for example, I feel like your best option would be to pick like a very fundamentals heavy character and then just focus on that for like a large portion of your learning, because the things you learn from playing that fundamental character will transfer over to pretty much every other character you'll try as you're trying to find like who you really, really, really want to play. Or maybe you actually end up falling in love with just like the fundamental character, right?
Yeah.
So like I feel like learning skills with a more basic character that transfer over to other characters is pretty much the play. That's sometimes how I try to approach, unless like the character just kind of bores me to tears.
Fair enough. Because I've also heard people say, well, I spend a week or 2 weeks with this character, I learn all of their moves and like the frame data and stuff, and then they move on to the next one. And then they just kind of like, try to force feed themselves the information.
So I actually wouldn't retain that.
Some people
Personally, I wouldn't retain that. So like that's if it works for you, then I mean more power to you, but then I feel like you're not really learning like the core game at that point. You're just learning, this character has these gimmicks. I can use these gimmicks to win, which a lot of fighting games like sometimes boil down to, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah.
Is like exploit gimmick till knowledge check,
So people know it.
Opponent knows, try something different.
I almost hate
exploit until they know knowledge.
If I could change fighting games, and obviously I shouldn't, but if I could, I would rip out every single gimmick that a character has, because I want an honest to God fight against other characters. But that would be boring for people. They want
every character would just be the same.
Yeah, everybody wants the sauce, they want to hit those infinites.
Yeah.
They don't want to just play they want to play what is it, like Hokuto no Ken, Fist of the North Star. You know what I mean? They want the crazy shit.
Yeah. They want to just have a blast. or they want to play Yoshimitsu and just like go into crazy stances and fly around the screen and backflip and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
They don't always want to play like Shaheen and learn fundamentals.
So I guess going back to that that question though is do you think it's better for someone to learn one character or multiple? You say one. I've always been told one, learning from one character.
I'd say one. Like even as someone who just like hops around characters, when I first start a fighting game, usually I'll stick with a character for a while to kind of like feel out the game.
Right.
And then afterwards go on like a long ass quest to find my true character.
Yeah, it feels like that
things carry over.
I'm not gonna lie, it feels like that quest has never ended for you.
For real though.
I've never seen you stick with the character.
Always changing. My main is Mokujin in Tekken.
You basically are Mokujin now.
I'm trying.
I mean,
it's a long journey.
I will say that that could be seen as a bonus to Dragon Ball FighterZ, is sort of like your ability to I feel like the characters are simple enough initially to kind of just pick them up. It's almost like it's the closest thing I can think of is to Smash in fighting game form, where you can pick it up. It's complex, enough to have that depth, and the technicality comes from a little bit of some mastering your character, but like 75% mastering your team, and that's where the sauce is really.
It feels like in FighterZ, a lot of like the combo structure carries over between characters. You just have to shift up like a little, like one, maybe two things, and then like, hey, it just works. But then you have like some other characters like what is it? Oh, Super Broly. Super Broly doesn't play by any of the traditional rules because of the way his combos is structured around like looping some stuff for maximum damage. Right?
Yeah.
So like FighterZ seems to have like a super solid base with that, with like regards to with regards to that, because you can just pick up most characters and be like, oh, I could just do this combo. It just works because that's how it's built. So that I can pick up this character and do this combo, this character and do the same combo, etc., etc. So that is super heavy in its favor with like picking up multiple characters.
Yeah.
Since all you're really doing is changing like some of your core tools rather than your actual like fundamental combo structures or like poking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Since almost every character has like a key blast, etc.
Deus in the chat said multiple is the only real answer. One is for people who like to have mastery over one weapon despite the weakness, which is why Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is so good. So I can see why people would feel that way, but I think more or less the answer or the question here is, when you learn something, are you learning it properly, or are you just like, stumbling around in the dark when you're trying to learn a character? You know what I mean?
It basically comes down to, do you know how to learn? As stupid as it sounds, but do you know how to learn, right? Like, for some people, their best way to learn is to just drill things out. Just boom, 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 boom. And then others, take like a more steady approach, like practice something for like 20-ish minutes and then take a break and then come back to it or try something else, etc.
Yeah.
So it all just comes down to, have you learned your real learning style? Do you know how to learn?
That's fair.
And for some people, multiple characters is just the way they do it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. I don't feel like there's a wrong way between single character or multiple characters.
Yeah.
But I feel like the multiple character guy is going to be more reliant on knowledge checks and such.
Oh
And
yeah.
then the single character guy is just going to be very solid, very fundamental, and have a better base.
I get annoyed with knowledge check people.
But both sides are just completely valid ways to play. So, yeah, it's whatever.
I know the knowledge check is entirely the point, though. But
Oh, for sure.
but I just don't see how that's fun, because to me, in my personal opinion, if you have to switch a character to beat someone,
Yeah.
I just think,
Adorable cat thing.
you know, I just think like you're not willing to learn what you're doing wrong, and you're just hoping to catch them by happenstance. Oh, they don't know how to defend lilies, whatever, because they beat my Brian. You know what I mean? Not always,
Okay. But I also feel like that's a bit like belittling of like their actual work, like to learn like these knowledge checks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. It seems like, they're probably paying attention. Like, I'll say it, like, I know a lot of you guys, while we're playing games, will just spit out some knowledge about a game, and I'm like, how does he know? Why does he know that? And it's just sort of like, oh, well, I guess he's just put in the work, or they're in the right circles, or whatever it may be. Whereas, like, I just sort of like hope I eventually figure that out, or someone tells me. That's kind of just how I do it. Like, I don't have like a source personally for fighting games, so
You just gotta keep your finger on the pulse.
yeah, because I think that's sort of what we're kind of getting to is like I think the idea of the single character to the multiple character also depends on skill level as well, because I think doing a multiple character requires more skill, and if something is your first fighting game, it can be difficult to try. Like, I think you're going to overwhelm yourself with multiple characters.
Well, I'm not really sure on that front.
I mean, I would disagree. I feel most people play multiple characters have more fundamentals when it takes a level of knowledge to use a specific character. No, I see the problem is knowledge checks aren't necessary. In my opinion, knowledge checks aren't like, it doesn't mean you're a better player if you win a knowledge check. It just means the other person doesn't know. I don't think that
I mean, in a way that can be you're the better player, because you know these knowledge things and your opponent doesn't, right? It's just,
I mean,
fighting games as a whole come down to a lot of knowledge checks.
Yes.
At any level.
Even
in
level.
the pro scene, it comes down to some knowledge checks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, how Rang Chu rang through for Tekken World Tour and won that with Panda. Even pros weren't like fully, versed in, hey, Panda can do this, 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 and this, and Rang Chu really like cracked things open.
Yeah.
By exploiting that.
And that cat is just hugging you.
I know, she's loving me here.
Actually, hey, can we take a quick break? I need to go get my laundry that is sitting in my my community dryer
we just
right
end
now.
the podcast by throwing out a score for Dragon Ball FighterZ?
Is that what you want to do?
I mean, you're probably gonna be gone for like 15 minutes.
I mean, it'll take me a few seconds, but if you're...
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do a few seconds, sure. I'll just sit here and pet this cat.
Have fun. I will be right back. Waiting for Quint to get back. So I figured I would chat with you guys here. Waiting. So I don't know. I kind of feel like... oh, look. I see him. What's up, Kira? How you doing, man? know what's weird is like, does anyone run? Because whenever I run, I swear to God, I go on like long 3-mile runs. And as crazy as it sounds, my shoulder hurts after I run every time. Which is not, it's not good. It sounds kind of bad actually. But, oh, I think he's back.
He do be back.
Skill issue. It's true. My back is my back is a skill issue. I was telling them that every time I go on runs, by the end of the run, my shoulder hurts. Like there's a spot in my shoulder. I think it's the way like I hold my hands while I run. But could be. Well, more like this. But yeah, you gotta bring them across your body. You know. That's
I don't run.
I mean, I've been trying to. It's kind of interesting, the skill of running. But anyway, Dragon Ball FighterZ is an excellent video game. I think it's probably one of my favorite fighting games. I like just ignored for years. I want to play more of it, but I don't. I want to play more of it. I don't think I could get that many people around. You know what I mean? Like to actually, like, I don't think I could consistently get you guys. We have Tekken. You know, I would rather just kind of delve into Tekken with you guys every once in a while.
Tekken 8's, you know, kind of fallen a little flat, you know. So.
I feel like we're in a rough patch. We're definitely in a rough, you know, we have in our relationship, we've just, you know, we're breaking up a little bit. But I think Tekken 8 is actually a great game still. I just think it has some interesting design philosophies. Maybe try something else with your arms. I did. I tried doing this instead of like the slight arm movements you want to make. But it didn't change anything. Oh. Alright, Quint.
Sorry.
It's all good. But I think it's the... I mean, I'm always down to play some fighting games, no matter how obscure they really are. That is awesome. I think next week, Hiro, we are going to cover... I think we're going to cover Garo. You down to cover Garo?
Garo.
Mark of the Wolves. It's basically a Fatal Fury, like an SNK game.
Is that on Fightcade?
Yep, it's on Fightcade 2. So it's free 99. If you guys want to download that, you can play with us. We'll be playing during the week. I just really want to learn something new. That game looks like it's a lot of fun, and Garo 2, which is coming out, who knows when, is going to have the same mechanics as 1. They've picked it apart, and a lot of people have seen it.
Cool.
So if you were going to give this game a score, what would it be?
I think with my current experience with the game, so, you know, this is subject to change, but I think I'm at like a 7.5.
Damn, a 7.5?
Maybe an 8.
Yeah.
I think I'm an 8. I'll go with 8.
I think so too.
Yeah. I don't think it's super amazing, but I think it's like a really solid, fun game that I could probably put more time into and have a good time.
I agree.
But like I said, you know, subject to change, because maybe I'll absolutely hate playing at a decent level.
And anybody who's listening, just so you know, it is very difficult to get Quint to say, I would play that game again. So that in itself is I think that's a notch on that game's belt. Even though that's an 8, even though it's an 8, you have to put like an 8 plus a star or something like that to say like, oh,
Quint would gold star.
Quint would play it again, which I think is that's in itself is pretty amazing. I would personally, I think I would give it an 8 as well. I think it's an amazing game. I wish the rollback didn't have the issues that it has. The weird,
I wasn't even factoring that in.
yeah, the weird rollback issues.
I mean, for the most part, the rollback's fine. There's some really weird rollbacks, like I killed you and then it rolled it back and it's like, never mind, that didn't happen. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
So the confusing part about that statement is that for me, when I'm watching the game, I can't tell if it actually happened or the game is just so fast that, because that game is it's so fast.
Well, it flashed the win on my screen when I connected with you, flashed the win on my screen, and then went back, and I was like, never mind.
yeah, that did not happen on my screen.
Exactly.
It didn't happen. So okay, yeah. So I think they need to tweak this rollback a little bit, and then I mean I don't think we're ever gonna get
a little work.
this is Ultimate Marvel 3 right now. We're never gonna get any nerfs or buffs for characters. I think it's pretty much done. Yeah,
not.
I think you're gonna have to live with this. It's gonna be like a Marvel 2 where you have to just, or 3, and you just have to live with the cast and all the bullshit that comes with it. But with that,
which is fine. There's a huge cast and a bunch of characters to play and a bunch of DLC. Like it's fine. I bet the gap between characters isn't like as large as it seems due to being a tag fighter, so I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's not like, you have the one character issue where the one character's just godlike, and I think they can get away with that even if they made a godlike character with it being a tag fighter too.
Well, they had a godlike character, which was Labcoat 21.
Oh right.
Who just ravaged the pro scene for a long time, and then they finally nerfed her, and now she's in like a more manageable state, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, manageable in parentheses. She's probably still very good.
She doesn't just permanently apply like a you deal % less damage buff.
Yeah.
Debuff.
So I gotta ask you. So is your score changing then? With the rollback issues?
No, because like
take off half a point.
It's just kind of like part of the rollback growing pains. It barely occurred. Like I saw it maybe a couple times where the rollback was a little funky. Spectating, that sucks, but I can't really knock some like a massive point off for that. I think because it's like, okay, it sucks, but it's something that can be fixed probably pretty easily.
Yeah. It's which is why I was saying it's been a month since it came out, and I'm wondering why it's still there. I don't know.
I'm basically rating it on the core game in its current state.
Yeah.
And not taking into account like little hiccups with rollback or the weird spectator bugs.
I'm not gonna lie, I get a little kick out of seeing Goten just T-pose, like, or like Goku and Vegeta just T-posing, like inside of each other. They're just like staring at you.
Just a bunch of Gogetas with their knee up flying across the screen. All right.
Yeah, it makes watching Gogeta do moves too confusing on my end whenever it happens, because you know how his super just shows multiple Gogetas, then the screen is just full and it becomes harder. But yeah, I think I definitely.
Every time there's a new Gogeta generated.
I definitely think this game deserves a sequel. I am bummed we're getting Sparking Zero over this game, because if I could go and just start from a day one version of this, that would be awesome, because you can learn with other people. Whereas I feel like if I go into it now, I'm just gonna get bodied because everyone who still plays it is like godlike at the game.
Yeah, for sure. Like I hit like rank button just for funsies, just to see what the level people were at just at the entry where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing like full combos to kill a character, and I'm like, all right, so that's where we're at right now. Got it.
Yeah.
We're at where anyone will just destroy your character.
Not only that, but the to point this out too.
Level.
Hey, at the lowest level, the matchmaking, that sounds like it was kind of horrible because it's like you have zero skill in the game, and the game was like, oh yeah,
Right?
let's put you with this expert master. Good luck.
But they were like the same rank as me, so it doesn't matter. So it's like either a Smurf or just like somebody trolling or, horrible matchmaking maybe. I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, man, I love this game. I think it's really good. I think an 8 is kind of where it's at. So, let me ask you this: how are you feeling about playing Goro for next week?
I mean, I have played Garo before, but it's been a very, very long time.
Yeah,
So I think it'll be fun.
yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. Just messing around with the game. It was honestly, it's going to be difficult because that has a version of the FADC that's I think a little bit more complicated. But I could be wrong. I can't wait to kind of delve into it and understand it. Like
Older fighting game problems.
yeah, there's like high level 2 is fun to watch because there's just frame blocks that allow you to counter super. So it's a little bit like Third Strike in that way, where
Spicy. All right.
yeah. So like half the gameplay is like you doing a just frame block. I can counter pushwood butts with whatever you're using.
All right.
Yeah, it's called Just Defends, but and the combo system, when you play it, it's a little bit like you're gonna have normals, and you're like, why can't I cancel all of these? It's because they expect you to learn the FADC cancels, which is weird, right? If you played like Street Fighter
weird.
4, you would have a lot of cancels you could do without FADCs.
Yeah.
This wants you to rely on it. So it's going to be
My
interesting.
fingers hurt just thinking about it.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm already crippled. Yeah, for sure. From my one time playing it. But other than that, Quint, where can people find you, man?
Oh, streaming whenever I can over on twitch.tv/QuintessenceHD. Posting memes on Twitter/X QuintessenceHD. And of course here on the lovely Backlog podcast.
Also, if you go on any of Quint's socials, please bombard him and harass this man to start streaming again, because he needs to.
I would never.
Just make him do it. Damn. But yeah, you can pretty much find the backlog on everything. Just TH3BACKLOG. But until then, guys, this has been the Backlog Podcast number 68. See you soon. Peace out, y'all. Bye.
Why?